these are the assembly instructions to my spooky graveyard. I'm starting with the pieces for the graveyard itself. For my tombstones, I'm taking my outer layer with the writing on it, then 2 pieces of matching craft board, and then back layer in the matching shape as well. I'm just going to glue all of these together, and I'm going to do that for all 8 of my gravestones. Now that all of the small gravestones are done, I'm going to assemble the big one, and the big one will go together much like the others. The purple layer is my back layer, and then I have 2 layers of craft board, another purple layer, and then the front of my stone. Next, I'm putting together my little fence. So I've applied vinyl onto cardstock, and then I'm going to glue 2 layers of craft board together, and then I'm going to take one of my decorated pieces of cardstock. I'm just putting glue on my doubled up pieces of craft board, and I'm just going to position them centered within that piece of cardstock like so. And then I'm going to take another one of my pieces of decorated cardstock. I'm putting glue on the other side of that craft board, and then I'm just stacking my piece on top. Notice that there are tabs at the bottom, and I folded them open like so. And I'm going to do that for the other one exactly the same way. So I'm going to be doing the same thing with the tree. I've got a piece of black vinyl on cardstock, and then I have 2 layers of craft board. So I'm just going to layer these 2 together, putting glue on one side of that craft board, gluing it to the underside of my decorated cardstock. Then I'm putting glue on the other side of that craft board, layering my tree piece on top. So now I'm using some very well used transfer tape, and I'm grabbing this tiny little spider, and I'm applying it to one of the gravestones that has room for it. So my remains has enough room for the little spider. So I also have this spider web. I'm just applying it to my gravestone. Next, I'm going to take my base piece. This is the piece that has all those little cutouts in it. The middle piece is for the tree. The larger cutout at the back is going to be for the largest of the headstones. So I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to put glue on my tabs, open it up, and just hold it in position, making sure that those tabs glue down nicely. So now I'm going to do the same with my fence pieces. I'm just going to push my tabs through and flatten them on the other side. And I'm going to do that for both of them. I'm just putting glue on the tabs, I'm gluing them to the base, and I'm flipping the base over just to make sure everything is standing up nice and straight. So next I have my 2 gravestones on either side, inserting those tabs into those holes, putting glue on the reverse. So I'm just going to continue this process with the rest of my gravestones. And then I have my tree that's going to go in the center. It helps to have a bone folder or something that can help you apply a little bit of pressure over those tabs. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use a ruler or something with a nice straight edge. So I have the remainder of my gravestones, and I'm just going to do the exact same thing with them. I'm just going to glue these little grass pieces to all my little pop-up objects. So next we're going to work on the pumpkin. Now the pumpkin has 4 pieces that look like this, and you just want to fold down on all the score lines, and just take care with these little wedges in between. I'm using my Cricut scraper tool here. I'm just folding down carefully. And so once you fold it down on all the score lines, you can see a little bit more clearly where to place your decorative pieces. 4 rectangles on the top and 4 trapeze shapes on the bottom. So you want to glue them down between the score lines and leave an even border all the way around, and you want to do that for all 4 pieces. So I have 4 sets. 2 of them are going to be the bottom of my pumpkin, and 2 of them are going to be the top, but essentially the main part goes together the same way. So you're going to do this part twice. So you want to put glue on this side tab like so, and then just join them up, making sure that the score line at the top and the score line at the bottom are even, your cut line is right against the score line of your tab. I'm just rotating my piece 180 degrees and I'm putting glue on this tab. I'm joining the cut edge of one piece to the score line of the tab. So I'm just going to do that with all 8 tabs. And then I'm going to put glue on the tab that's at one end here. So I'm just joining those top levels together at the tab. Now I'm putting glue on that bottom tab and joining it to its neighbor. I'm just going in there with my bone folder. I'm just making sure that all those seams are nice and solid. So I have one level done. I'm going to put the other one together the exact same way. I've decided that this is the bottom of my pumpkin. I'm just going to cover all of these tabs in glue, like so. And then I'm going to take an octagon with the center cut out, and I'm just placing it so that it's exactly on top of the tabs, so that the corners of my octagon coincide with the corners of my tabs. And next we're going to move on to the top piece. For the top piece, I have this shape piece, and I've just folded forward on all the score lines. So now I'm just going to put glue on this tab. So I've got the right side upwards, and I'm just gluing this tab down. And then I have my decorative pieces, and I just want to adhere each one of them within the score lines, leaving an even border all the way around. So there are 8 decorative pieces, and I'm just going to glue those down. All right, so next I'm going to work on the stem of my pumpkin. So I'm just going to fold down on the score lines. Got the tabs on each end, the tabs on each side, and then the center octagon. So now I have my decorative pieces. It may be difficult to notice, but these pieces are tapered. So there's a little bit narrower here at the bottom and larger at the top. And that's the way you want to glue them down. And you're going to glue down your center there, like so. So now I have my piece all decorated. The next part is very similar to what we did with the other parts of the pumpkin. I'm just putting glue along the tab, and then join your cut edge up to the score line on your tab. And you want to just go around doing that for all 8 panels. So I have my small octagon with a cutout in the center, and I'm just going to glue it on top of the bottom of my stem. I'm just going to put glue on one of those trapeze shapes, on one of those tabs, and I'm just going to place my ring so that I want the point of the octagon to be at the score line on each side, like so. I'm just going to go all the way around, and when it gets a little bit tight, I'm just going to use my reverse tweezers to keep my pieces in place while I glue them together. Next, I have another octagon that fits exactly in the center. I'm just going to put glue all over the tabs. I'm trying to match up the points of my octagon with the score lines on each facet. Then I'm going to put glue on the bottom of my stem. I want the edges of my stem to be aligned with the edges of my pumpkin piece, and I want this more or less centered. I'm just going in with my tweezers. I'm just making sure that all of this is glued down nicely. And this fits on top of my pumpkin. So I'm just putting glue on one of those tabs. And I'm just gluing it down. I'm just going from the underside and positioning my piece so that the score lines meet up exactly. The top of my pumpkin is right on the top of the score line of that tab. And now I'm putting glue on each one of those tabs, and I'm just gluing the sides down the exact same way. So next I'm working on the platform that's within my pumpkin. So I have my octagon with tabs all the way around, and I'm just folding upwards on all those tabs. I'm taking my bottom piece, so these flaps are going to get folded outwards temporarily. I'm going to put glue on one of these tabs. I'm just placing it so the top of my tab is almost at that score line. So I'm gluing this tab, and I'm going to flip my piece around, and so I'm gluing down the tab directly opposite from it. Now I have the remainder of my tabs, and I'm just going to glue them to the perimeter of my pumpkin right below the score line. And then I'm putting glue on the tab and turning it inwards like so. So I'm just gluing down 7 of those tabs, and one of them I'm leaving intact. So this tab that I've left is going to become my hinge at the back. So I want my platform to fit in the back like so. And now I have all these flaps on the lid of my pumpkin. And just like I did for the bottom, I'm going to turn them inwards and glue them to the walls of my pumpkin, but I'm going to leave one of them intact. Next I have a little octagon, and it just finishes off my stem. So I just glued my graveyard onto my platform. So I've got both flaps that I've left unglued, and those are going to become my hinges. One of them is going to go in the interior and the other one is going to go on the exterior. So I'm just putting glue on this tab, and I'm just inserting it where that hinge piece is, and then I'm closing my box. I'm just putting glue on that other tab and gluing it down. So next I have my little moon piece with my bats. So I'm just adhering my smallest bat to my largest stone. I have these 2 yellow pieces, which are the moon. I'm taking some vinyl bats. I'm just decorating my moon with the bats. I'm taking some black embroidery floss. I'm just going to take a piece of double-sided tape. I'm just gluing down my piece of embroidery floss, and then I'm putting glue all over and gluing my 2 panels together like so. I have a black cat. I'm going to glue my black cat to the base of the tree. So I have a piece of scrap cardstock, and I'm just putting some double-sided tape on it. I've got about 1.5 inches from the end of my moon to my scrap piece of cardstock. I've just snipped off the excess embroidery floss, and I'm just placing this so about in the center like so. So when you close it, it closes inside, but when you open it, it flings out. I have some black vinyl, and I've put my little jack-o'-lantern face. One of the things I wanted to leave to the end was the bottom. Just with an open area, you could always put a light in there. I decided against it, but I'm just going to glue this on the base of my jack-o'-lantern. And there you have it.